nothing but the dog in me.
Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know every time we start the show, it's mayhem because we're goofing to the music. I love that song, and my dear friend Speedo over here was just showing us how he can strut his stuff to the end of that. But we won't go there. Now, unlike when I go on his show at the end and do a dance, there's no dancing here, so we'll keep it off in the corner, and it's for my eyes only. But if anybody does watch Sky 13 on a Saturday night, the next live show is at 8 o'clock, and my dear friend Speedo has his Speedo 316 show, and yeah, I am like the peanut gallery and the Speedo 316 dancer at the end. And if anybody has never caught that, I'm afraid you're going to be looking for it now. But yeah, apparently he gets all kinds of comments that I don't get to see about that. But whatever, all in good fun. It's a whole different side of me that a lot of you will never know. Anyway, here we are in October. And October is a pretty cool month on a lot of levels. But it is Pit Bull Awareness Month, and it is also Adopt a Shelter Pet Month, which is kind of cool because there's a lot of pit bulls in shelters that need homes, right? Sadly enough, pit bulls are the #1 breed that gets killed in shelters. And Speedo, you have any idea what the second most killed breed in shelters could be? We're going to test his knowledge. See if he's been paying attention.
I know what you said. Oh my goodness.
It's like the complete opposite of a pit bull. Chihuahuas, exactly. There you go. So, and that's because, you know what, people are just relentless, and, you know, everybody wants a pit bull for one type of status, and everybody wants a Chihuahua for another type of status, and most people don't know how to deal with either dog. You know, pit bull is still a terrier, high energy. You know, lots of, some of them have prey drive, and that is an issue with a lot of these adoptions and fosters that go down. They find out that they're not necessarily good with cats and small animals. You know, Chihuahuas can be very, I don't want to say high strung, but they can be kind of nervous and intimidated by the, I mean, look how much bigger you are than a Chihuahua, you know, and you've got kids running around and the dog is like terrified and they're pawing at it and it, you know, wants to defend itself, so it's nippy. You know, they're two niche dogs as far as I'm concerned. You know, any terrier has the energy, wants to chew, needs the exercise. You know, Chihuahuas, they're good pocket dogs, you know. I mean, look at me. I've got both going on. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've had all ends of the spectrum with dogs. I mean, Duke and Bocce are ginormous, and they have their own personalities. I had a rat terrier, and she was actually, by the time I got her, she was more mellow than she probably ever was as a puppy. My little Kelly was had by an old woman who, I think I've probably told this story. She was not very kind to Kelly, and she would go to work and leave Kelly in her car. And we know how I feel about stuff like that. But the end result is I got to see the inside of this car, and it wasn't pretty. There was not much left of the interior at all, and that was thanks to Kelly. And she was a much younger dog then, and she was, you know, probably not liking being out there. But yeah, the terriers have that, more so than a lot of dogs, that urge to chew and that need to get it out of their system. So that's where a lot of these adoptions go wrong, is people don't understand that. You know, and again, like I said, the Chihuahua is a whole different thing. It's a kind of pocket dog, and they can be intimidating. They can be wonderful dogs. I've got 2 mixes still to this day. You know, Gidget is rat terrier and Chihuahua. That's Kelly carrying through and mixing over. And still little Bella with, I still say she's part Italian Greyhound. You know, that's just my spin on it. She was supposed to be Chiweenie, but I don't know. I don't see the weenie part of that. But yeah, they're their own types of dogs. But that's your little thing. Pit Bull's number one, Chihuahua's number two, dying in shelters because people are unscrupulous. They have small minds and small hearts, and they're looking for fat wallets, and they're just breeding dogs regardless of anything that should be going down. They're not. They don't care about the welfare of the animals. They don't care about the health of the animals. They don't care about the genetics. It's really a horrible thing. But the other thing that is really cool about October, Zach, let's have that calendar. We have to give props to Mojo, who it is his month on the calendar this month. And, you know, there he is in all his glory. You know, give him props because there he is. And again, once again, thanks to Patricia Schmidt, who has disappeared off the face of Facebook, who actually ran like a one-woman campaign to get him voted in. And I will be forever grateful because that's a wonderful thing to have forever. All right, Zach, I will take the camera back. And the best and coolest and most wonderful thing about October is Halloween. And that is surely not going to surprise anybody, my favorite holiday. You can keep Christmas, you can keep New Year's, you can keep Thanksgiving, you can keep all those little summer picnic party holidays that have fireworks that terrify my animals. And we will stick with Halloween. So as I have done on other occasions, I am going to invite you all to send me your dog's pictures in their Halloween costumes. And I will air them on the show on the 26th of October, which is the last show, the last Saturday before Halloween. So by all means, email me your pictures at pawprints713@aol.com. That's PAWPRINTS713@aol.com. Put like something in the message Halloween picture in the subject line so I know what it is. Then I don't just like overlook it. And please, by all means, give me some information about your dog or your cat or your ferret or your rabbit or whatever you're going to dress up. Tell me the name, the age, is it a rescue? Tell me a little story about it, and I'll you know, I haven't gotten tons of these pictures in the past, so I have a little time, I'm sure, to tell your dog's story as well. So send me your dogs, cats, pets, whatever you dress up for Halloween. Send me their picture, and I will air them, and I'm actually quite excited to see those. You can post them on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page if you'd like. I do pay attention to everything that gets posted there, and I will just download it and save it from there. But like, and then everybody else gets to see it ahead of time, but that's fine too. Just send them along. I look forward to that. I haven't been one much to dress my animals up because they're just not like that. Although way back when my godson sister was small, she was a cowgirl for Halloween one year, and her and my Daisy were thick as thieves, and I dressed Daisy up as an Indian. I got a little feather headdress, and I put it on her, and they were like a cowgirl and an Indian, and it was really cute and corny, and that was a long time ago, and you know, what can I say? Anyway, Zach, bring me up the next picture. This dog, it's really pretty sad when people have to dump an animal, sometimes in the condition and in the manner that they do. This dog's not smiling, people. This dog is terrified, and he is, she, I'm not even sure, found tied to a fence inside a cemetery in Winstead. Yes, they had to use, you know, the catch pole, and the dog's rear leg is infected. The dog is scared. You know, I can't imagine that dog being very easy to handle. Probably scared out of its mind, probably been like neglected, abused, whatever its story is. But I can tell you that the animal control officers are looking for any information at all. And this is falling under the jurisdiction of Winchester Animal Control. So if you recognize this dog, or if you saw somebody and can identify a vehicle of somebody who maybe was in the vicinity of the cemetery, if you know anything at all, you are urged to call. All calls are confidential. And the number that you would want to call, well, there's two actually numbers, 860-379-2721 or 860-309-7228. I'll run those by you again. The first number is 860-379-2721. The second number is 860-309-7228. I've stressed it over and over, and I will do it again and again. Don't just dump your animals. A lot of shelters aren't necessarily open to taking in an animal at your whim. It's your emergency. It's not theirs. You leave things to the last minute. You let things get out of control, and then you just decide to open the door and let your dog go, or you tie it to a fence, or you dump it in a park, or you do whatever ridiculous thing that you're going to do to be relieved of this animal. And that's just, it's not right. You can, I've said it before. When I was with the shelter, I can remember people pulling up with U-Haul truck. Oh, we're moving today, we want to drop off our dog. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. A shelter has to have the room to take your animal. A shelter needs to have foster, the rescues that don't work in buildings. And, unless they have everything in place, and unless your dog is on the more adoptable side, it's a little difficult. If you've got a dog with a lot of problems, that's a whole nother story. And, a shelter isn't just going to take a dog on a dime because, now you're ready. No, you have to prepare for these things. And, the fact that this dog, she looks just terrified. I don't think I'd want to even try to get near it, and I've been pretty stupidly brave about a lot of things, but that's not a smile. To me, that looks like a little hyena. I'm sorry. But it's who knows what stories that dog could tell if it could talk. And it just, don't dump your animals. There had to have been a better way. Even the pounds don't necessarily take owner surrenders, and that makes it difficult. But really, you are responsible for an animal. You're responsible for its life and its well-being, and you really can't just bail like that. If you terrified this dog to the point where it acts like that, that's on you. You destroyed that dog's chances in a large part for a happily ever after. They can come around, but it takes an awful lot of, patience and time and quality, knowledge to be able to work with an animal like that. And unfortunately, if that dog is really, nobody can work with it, what's going to happen. And that's just an awful, awful thing. So people, be responsible. I say it over and over, and sometimes I feel bad because I feel like, I'm beating people up. But yeah, I'm beating people up. Be responsible and don't do stuff like this. If anybody knows anything, please give them a call. And, let's find out who did this, why, and what's going on with this poor guy and what he's been through. All right, I will take the camera back, and I just want to mention, speaking of dogs being dumped, the Stamford Animal Control is at capacity, and I read on their Facebook page that there were dogs thrown over the fence this week. Really? You're that desperate to get rid of your dogs? But you know what? Here's something that I've never understood. There's some places, and I think they're down south or maybe out west, they actually have drop boxes. There's pictures on this on Facebook, and they're trying to do away with it. There are drop boxes in the wall, like a night deposit box for a bank, and you just put your animal in this drop. Really, you're going to throw cats in with cats, and you're going to throw dogs in with dogs, and yeehaw, whatever happens, happens until the staff gets there in the morning? That has to stop. If they can do away with the gas chamber in some of these places, you could do away with the stupidity like that, because that's, you're dumping an animal into like a box to sit there for who knows how long, how many hours, until the staff is in and gets there. I mean, that's insanity at its finest, if you ask me. I don't get that. But yeah, back to Stanford. I'm sorry, I digress. They actually had dogs thrown over the fence this week, which doesn't help their situation. You know, they do the best they can with what they got, and you know, Lori Hollywood is the ACO there, and I like her. She does a really good job. That's one of the shelters where they actually take applications, they do reference checks. The dogs and cats, they go home spayed and neutered, you know, which isn't a luxury that a lot of the pounds have. There are a few, and I really, you know, I've been talking about it. There really needs to be some more work to get all the pounds on the same page in that respect, and have these dogs go home, you know, sterilized, for lack of a better word. Actually, I saw somebody use the word sputered, and I thought that was hilarious. It's a play on words, and it's spay and neuter put together, and it's sputered. But anyway, sterilized is probably the more proper word. So Stanford does need some help getting some dogs out of there. So if you can foster, if you can adopt, if you're a rescue and you can pull, by all means, check them out. They're on McGee Avenue. You can look at their Facebook page and go down and visit them, or call 203-977-4437. That's 203-977-4437. And it was kind of funny when I was looking at their Facebook page tonight, what should pop up that they shared, not from me, but through someone else, because, you know, when you share something on Facebook and it says, you know, so-and-so shared someone else's picture or someone else's link or whatever, they shared an article that I wrote this week. Thanks to Candace Bouchard for bringing it to my attention. I have to say that I had no idea that the state of Connecticut offers a low-income spay and neuter program, which is basically, from what I have read, it's the same voucher that you get as when you adopt from a dog pound. So, you know, there really gets to be less and less of an excuse not to spay or neuter your pets. This includes 2 vaccines and the spay or neuter, and they will issue up to 2 per household. There is an application. The application is online. This article and some links are posted on the Pound Posse Presents page, and you can also go to www.ct.gov and look up the appropriate links. There you look up animals, and it's there. You can go to Pound Posse Presents. Might be easier to just find it, or find this article, and it's all linked to in there. You know, it's amazing the resources that are out there, and there's so much there's still so much resistance to people doing the right thing, and I can't imagine it. Additionally, the state also provides a feral cat program, and that's for 501c3 organizations who can send in their paperwork, and then they are issued the assistance. Now, of course, that program is closed for this year, and it's something that if you're involved, if you're a 501 or if you're involved with a group, and you know you want to put that on your radar for next year, you know, why not? If it's there and it's available, it's that many more animals that you can help. They do it on a fiscal year basis, so that runs, you know, July to July. So you really do have to wait for next year. When I was checking out the feral cat program, they already had the 2014 recipients listed. So it's clearly, or at least to me, it's clearly, you know, past the time to apply this year. But, you know, there's so much available out there, and, you know, people really need to stop trying to get those fat wallets off the backs of the animals. People need to stop breeding and letting their animals reproduce. You know, you have a cat, and it's, oh, but the cat likes to go outside, you know, and comes home and it's knocked up, and, you know, or it's out there getting all the other neighborhood cats pregnant. You got to stop that. Spay and neuter your animals. You know, it's the Pits Community Awareness and Resources. I've talked about this on a number of shows. They're still offering 100 pit bulls in Waterbury, a spay or neuter program. And from what I understand, what I was told today, out of the 100 that are available, there's only like 20 spaces reserved. Come on, what's up with that, people? There's more than 100 pit bulls in Waterbury. Clearly more than 100 pit bulls in Waterbury. I know they're not all spayed and neutered. To only have 20 people signed up for the program is just ludicrous to me, and it tells me that people are just out there to make money off of these dogs, you know. And you know, I've talked to people who really don't understand why they should spay or neuter. You know, guys get attached to their animals' body parts, shall we say. You know, they can't imagine doing it to their dog because they wouldn't want it done to themselves. That dog's going to be happier. That dog's going to be healthier. Your dog's probably going to live a longer life. A male dog is going to stop marking its territory. It's going to stop humping, which can be a problem. I'm sorry, this is serious content. You know, your dog's going to have better behavior, and it's going to be probably, you know, if there's any aggression issues, it's probably going to lessen the likelihood of that. A male dog can get certain types of cancers. So can a female dog from not being spayed. You know, you have a female going through all these heats. It's a mess. You know, you've got issues now with her behavior when she's going through her cycle. You know, you got to keep her locked up. You got to keep the male locked up. You got to hope that she doesn't get loose. You got to hope that he doesn't get loose. Your dog shouldn't be loose anyway, but they can do the damage, you know, of creating another litter when they're not fixed. So for the love of God, get your animals spayed and neutered. If anybody wants to go around Waterbury and hang flyers for It's the Pits, that would be a wonderful thing. You know, there are people that are out there and they are doing that to try to spread the word because, you know, exposure is key. So get in touch with me and, you know, I can put you in touch and get you some flyers, and that would be a really wonderful thing. You know, if you're behind the program and you want to share it, by all means, just holla and we will arrange that. Callie is still out there. Unfortunately, she has not been found, and I just wanted to give you a brief update on that. It's kind of cool because Amy, who is Callie's mom, is getting an awful lot of assistance from Cindy Pelletier, who has been running the Bring Timmy Home search, and also Blaine Trainer, who we helped him find Rudy. It's really nice to see that, you know, everybody's got the camaraderie and, you know, supporting each other. Although Blaine found Rudy, he still went through that heartache and the search and the hanging the posters and everything that's involved with not knowing where your dog is. You know, Cindy's been on the case with Timmy for the longest time now. It's well over years, coming up on 2 years. And they were actually going to be hanging posters for both dogs, Timmy and Callie, in Fulton Park, since Waterville Park and Fulton Park, I guess, aren't that far away from each other. So it's a great thing to see the cooperative effort. You know, if you'd like to get on board with that, again, get in touch. Look at the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page, because all the links and all the information are there. But we really need to see if we can bring some of these dogs home. And just as an aside, I got to speak with Blaine a couple weeks ago, and apparently Rudy's settling back in, if anybody was wondering how he's doing. He's settling back in and he's adjusting. He had some issues, you know, I guess you would say like PTSD from having been gone through what he did, you know, getting out of the car and on the highway and being stuck up there and whatever he went through. But he's working through it, and, you know, Blaine is definitely by his side, and it's a really nice thing to know that, you know, Rudy's coming along and putting it behind him. One of the things that I've been talking about a lot on the show has been puppy dough, and there's no real news to report there. Unfortunately, it's still status quo, but the vigils are popping up all over the country. There's going to be more and more candlelight vigils, and there's actually going to be one in New York City on October 26th, which would probably be a really cool thing to go to. But we will be here on Pound Posse Presents on October 26th, so we'll probably acknowledge that as well. Tomorrow there is an event that I did post that I would be attending. However, unfortunately, for the best laid plans of mice and men, I had switched with someone at work, and now it's been unswitched by management, so we'll leave it at that. The Bark in the Park by the Wallingford Lions Club is going between 9 and 2. It's at Community Lake in Wallingford, and the North Shore Animal League adoption bus is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of local rescue groups with adoptable animals. There's going to be vendors and contests and food and a DJ. There's going to be a scavenger hunt. There's going to be a craft table for kids. You can go with or without your dog. If your dog is going to be in attendance, you do have to have proof of rabies. Not just the tag, but the certificate. And, not for nothing, if you have a dog that you take out with you all the time, probably not a bad idea to keep a copy of that in your wallet or in your purse or whatever the case may be, because that's kind of important. And always remember, if you're going to take your dog out, make sure your dog is good in a crowd. Make sure your dog is good around other animals. Make sure your dog is good on a leash. You really don't want to do the retractable leashes. You want to have like a regular standard leash so that, there's no... Some people don't know how to use a retractable leash to save their lives, and they're out and about, and the dog is just like, you hear that thing, the gears clicking, and, dogs running all over the place, and, put it in a public setting. That's not the venue to have the leash like that. It really isn't, unless you really know how to use one. And it's an art, I guess, or it's experience or whatever. But yeah, that should be a great day tomorrow. And even though I posted that I'll have a table, cancel that. Here we go. Got my credits. I'm getting cut off. The big hook is coming to take me away. I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs for another week. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching, and good night.